The mystery of the Flannan Isles. 3 lighthouse keepers vanished without a trace. The Flannan Isles are a small group of islands 20 miles west of Lewis in the Scottish Outer Hebrides. They are remote, exposed, and dangerous, subject to the full force of Atlantic storms without any natural shelter. The lighthouse on Eilean Moor, the largest island, had been completed just the previous year in 1899. The 3 keepers assigned to it, James Ducat, principal keeper, Thomas Marshall, first assistant, and Donald McArthur, second assistant, were all experienced lighthouse men. The lighthouse was well supplied and professionally maintained. There was nothing obviously wrong. On December 15, 1900, a passing ship noted that the Flannan Isles light was not operating. This was unusual enough to be logged. On December 26th, the Hesperus, the supply tender, arrived with a relief keeper named Joseph Moore. When the vessel anchored, there was no response to signals from the island. No one came down to meet the supply boat. No flag was raised, no acknowledgement. Moore and 2 crew members went ashore to investigate. They found the lighthouse unlocked, the oil stores and provision rooms in order, but no keepers anywhere. The lighthouse was completely deserted. Condition of the lighthouse provided clues, but no answers. In the kitchen, a half-eaten meal was on the table. One of the chairs had been knocked over. The clock on the wall had stopped. The oilskins, the keepers' waterproof coats, were in their place, which suggested the keepers had gone outside without expecting bad weather or had gone out in a great hurry. The logbook's last entry was December 15th. Thomas Marshall had written, "Severe winds, the like of which I have never seen in 20 years. We had been waiting to get on with work on the crane. Cannot go out. Second assistant quiet." December 15 was the date a passing ship had first noted the light not working. The official inquiry was conducted by the Northern Lighthouse Board. Its investigators found that the iron crane and associated landing equipment on the west side of the island, the crane platform, had been severely damaged. Mooring ropes had been displaced, and a turf box had been damaged by wave action. The evidence suggested that the keepers had been working at the crane platform when an exceptional wave struck the island and swept them into the sea. The absence of oilskins, if they had gone out expecting calm weather, would be consistent with a wave so sudden and massive that there was no time to return for protective gear. The most mysterious element of the case is that the December 1900 storm, while severe, was not the worst ever recorded for the Flannan Isles. The area is subject to enormous Atlantic waves, and occasional rogue waves, waves far larger than the surrounding sea state, are documented in the North Atlantic. A rogue wave at the crane platform would have arrived without warning and could have swept 3 men into the sea before any of them could react. The absence of bodies is consistent with drowning in the North Atlantic in December, where currents and cold water would quickly eliminate any trace. The romantic mystery surrounding the Flannan Isles has been amplified by a famous poem, Flannan Isle by Wilfred Wilson Gibson, published in 1912. The poem transformed the actual event into something deliberately uncanny, adding details that were not in the official record, and framing the event as inexplicable rather than probably explainable. Gibson's poem is the primary source for many of the popular misconceptions about the case. The detail about the half-eaten meal still steaming, the overturned chairs suggesting a struggle, the open Bible. Some of these details were added or emphasized by Gibson for literary effect. Other theories proposed for the Flannan Isles disappearance include murder-suicide. Perhaps one keeper killed the others and then himself. Though no evidence for this exists, supernatural abduction, the subject of considerable folklore in the Outer Hebrides, where the Isles had long been considered sacred and dangerous, alien abduction, a modern addition to the mystery tradition, and the seizing of the keepers by pirates or foreign agents, despite the complete absence of evidence for any of these. The wave theory is the least dramatic explanation and the most evidentially supported. James Ducat, Thomas Marshall, and Donald McArthur went to work one day in December 1900 and did not come back. The most likely explanation is a wave, sudden, massive, arriving from the sea at the crane platform where they were working. They had no time to call for help, no time to reach safety. The Atlantic kept them. The lighthouse that was their responsibility is still there, automated now, no longer staffed by human keepers. The island is still remote and still dangerous. The sea that probably took them is still there, still arriving without warning, still larger than anything you can prepare for.